Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Smith, President of the Board of Paths of Hope Ministries International. Welcome to a time of fellowship and celebration of all that the Lord is doing with Paths of Hope in Peru. Many of you have been with us on this journey since Paths of Hope was founded, but for those of you who might be new to this ministry, our mission exists to support and encourage young adults to discover and pursue the purposes of God for their lives. For the past 2 years, Billy and Kate Greenman have been working in Lima, Peru, carrying this work forward. As you were waiting for the meeting to begin, you may have noticed that we have recently updated our logo. It's a design that we collaborated on with our Peruvian staff to make sure that it's a good cultural representation from both an American and Peruvian perspective. Tonight, we've got an update from Billy Greenman and one of our 2 new Paths of Hope staff members, Linda Gamero. When Billy is done, I'll wrap up our time together. This year, as the coronavirus has continued to affect our world and make normal life a distant memory, we were unsure of how the Lord would grow us or move us forward. But despite the lockdowns and restrictions, God has, to our surprise and joy, overwhelmingly blessed and brought us forward in ways that we could have never predicted. Recently, I heard author and speaker Paul David Tripp say this: Jesus' death on the cross teaches us that God has the power and willingness to bring very good things out of very bad things. What could be worse than the unjust killing of the one perfect person who ever lived? What could be better than the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross? This is exactly what the Lord has done for us. He has brought good things out of this very bad virus. Billy Greenman, our Executive Director of Paths of Hope Peru, is going to give you the details. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you, Susan. I just want to point out to you, thank you for all being here with us today. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom over the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, if there are questions or comments or anything that comes up, there is a little Q&A box, and feel free to use it, and we'll try to get to some or any of the questions that come up. Yeah, thank you one more time. Thank you to all of you, those of you who are on Zoom and on Facebook, for joining us tonight. It's such an encouragement to be able to have you here with us. And as Susan said, during one of our most difficult seasons, the Lord has continued to bless us and fill us with joy. I want to point out that one of the primary means that Kate and Will and I have experienced this blessing in the midst of hard circumstances has been through the constant encouragement, presence, and prayers of those around us. From phone calls to Zoom meetings to emails to care packages, in perhaps one of the most isolating times in recent history, we have felt surrounded by community. So I just want to say thank you to start. And along with that, this idea of community. When we began talking about this idea to build Paths of Hope, thinking about the ways in which the Lord has led us to work with at-risk youth and to minister to them, our vision has always been a vision of community. When we think about the healing that we believe the Lord can bring about in the lives of kids who have endured great amounts of pain and suffering, often at the hands of people who should have been around to protect them, we believe that more important than any specific intervention that can be done to the person, healing happens in the context actually of safe and meaningful relationship with the person. You see, the trauma that many of them endured is relational, and so to the context of healing, it has to be in relationship, a relationship in which they see demonstrated to them on a regular basis that they're truly loved, that they see demonstrated to them that they're loved even when they find themselves at their lowest low, even in the midst of their worst behavior. A love that reflects the unending love that the Lord has for each of us. And so with that vision, one of the programs that we have been thinking about ever since the very early days of Passive Hope was a mentoring program. We feel passionate about engaging in conversation with the local church and empowering individual mentors of the church to show up as mentors for the kids in need. It was one of the very first programs I said that we began to build when Kate and I arrived in Peru in 2019. But it was also one of the first casualties of COVID. We had things close to ready to launch, and quarantine happened, and churches were no longer able to meet. Schools were closed, and we were cut off in many ways from both our potential volunteer mentors as well as many of the institutions that were going to provide us with referrals for the kids who could benefit from one of those long-term relationships with a mentor. And I say the program was a casualty, but that's not entirely true. It was more a return to the drawing board to think about how we might be able to adapt and how we might be able to envision mentors and a program like this given the current reality. And so tonight I'm really excited to announce that we are launching our new Caminando Juntos, in English, walking together is the name that we're giving to our mentoring program for at-risk youth. We are partnering with a girls' home called Hope House. It's on the outskirts of one of the largest districts of Lima, and also with the church that the girls at this home are currently attending, albeit virtually for the time being. The home that they are currently attending, as we train and equip mentors who will be well suited to prepared to engage with the girls. We'll begin training volunteers and also training the staff at Hope House this year. And we look forward to implementing the mentoring relationships in late 2021 and early 2022. And I'd be remiss to say, along with the mentoring program, I'm really excited to share that this year, Susan mentioned, we've been able to bring 2 new Peruvian staff members onto our team. And both of them have been instrumental in the development of this program. Jocabet Oscategui is a friend and a colleague of Kate and me. She has such a great amount of experience, and she's passionate about using that experience to benefit her sense of calling in this ministry. Hoka's worked for a number of years for a local children's home as a coach for youth who were leaving the home and making a transition to adulthood. And then a while later, after she left that job, she began working with the Peruvian government, helping to connect high school graduates with different scholarship opportunities. And it was about a year ago that she gave me a call, and she said, "Billy, I'm looking for a new job position." But she wanted something that she could be really passionate about. And I don't think she really had any idea that we were starting to look and think about adding to our staff. She was just hoping that maybe I would pass on her resume and let a few other contacts of mine know that she was available and searching. But it was really the Lord's timing, and we couldn't be happier to have had the opportunity to invite her onto our team. Hoka is currently overseeing our partnerships with children's homes and other institutions, and she will also be supporting our ministry as a teacher and a trainer for both children's home staff and volunteers as we move forward into the future. And then our second new staff person, Linda Gamero, she's another longtime friend and colleague, both of mine and of Susan's. And as we work to build partnerships with churches, we're starting in Lima and then expanding to other parts of the country. Linda is so uniquely equipped to help us begin to open doors. She's passionate about the work and the life of the local church, and she's also passionate about building an army of volunteers. She believes fervently in the power of prayer and has already worked diligently to build prayer groups in multiple congregations who are committed to praying for our ministry locally. a few days ago, we had the opportunity to visit her and record a video so that she could greet you personally and share a little bit more of her heart for this ministry. So here it is. We'll go ahead and play the video.
Hola, soy Linda. Quiero compartir con ustedes esto que nos emociona, nos llena de gozo, saber que podemos compartir y ser útiles con los jóvenes a través de otras instituciones como la iglesia, casas hogares, y también motivar a las familias para que sean mentores y apoyen a estos jóvenes que necesitan de sentir verdaderamente el amor del Señor a través de nosotros los cristianos. Creo que una de las cosas que más nos emociona como equipo es el trabajo caminando juntos. Además de eso, también tenemos las capacitaciones y espero que poder realizar un trabajo que verdaderamente hasta nosotros nos admiremos de lo que se logra a través del Señor. Creo que no hay palabras que podamos decir que nos puedan alentar al saber que los frutos de repente no se verán en estos momentos, en estos meses, pero estamos trabajando para que ellos, los jóvenes, puedan sentir que hemos sido parte de la ayuda que el Señor les está ofreciendo. Estamos muy agradecidos por los grupos de intercesión que tenemos en las iglesias, los contactos que tenemos con los colegios y todo lo que sea útil lo vamos a utilizar para poder coadyuvar a un trabajo donde toda la gloria se la lleve nuestro Señor. Muchas gracias.
As Linda said, our vision for ministry is a long-term vision. It's a vision to support and encourage youth and young adults as they discover and pursue the purposes that God has for each of them. We dream of lasting relationships and support networks that will allow these young people to grow and flourish. Changing the subject a little bit, another project that we have been really excited to participate in is the Girasoles Center of Excellence project, together with our partners at Health Bridges International. Many of you know already that two of the Girasoles homes that Kate and I have been deeply involved with and over the better part of the last couple of decades are now being operated by HBI. And HBI has invited us to collaborate with them on a multi-year research project, a project that focuses on building a curriculum and a set of resources to help build staff capacities and best practices, and also to increase their trauma awareness as they serve the kids in the home. It has really been my honor and privilege to work with people who are very near and dear to my heart as we collaborate together and explore with the staff what it looks like to develop a staff culture of trauma awareness. Kate and I and the rest of the team from HBI have been meeting regularly with both of the homes, 2 meetings a week, one with each home, and all of the staff at the homes to be able to cover different topics and curriculums that we've been putting together, talking about relational trauma and the importance of self-care and nonviolent communication and the role of attachment and caregiving and the importance of the caregiver being able to find healing so that they can then provide a healing environment for the kids they're serving. Originally, much of this project was going to be done through monthly in-person meetings at the homes, but COVID made that impossible over the last year. We've been meeting regularly on Zoom. But having said that, I'm really excited again to share that in November, we will finally have the chance to visit each of the homes face to face. And we'll be conducting 2-day intensive staff retreats, retreats that will allow us again to spend time in relationship with the staff, as opposed to the limitations and confines of that 1.5-hour Zoom meeting each week. We very much believe that as we are able to work and build and strengthen the communities that exist around the children's in the homes, that in doing so, we're making a long-term investment in the lives of the youth and the kids, both while they live in the homes and beyond. Now, look, I could go on, and I could talk for quite a long time about the different doors that the Lord has opened in our ministry over the past year. I could talk and tell you a little bit more about the Comunidad Girasoles project. Know that we're also building together with HBI as we're working on honing in on exactly, as we talk about mentoring, what a framework might look like for that mentoring relationship of that child who's nearing adulthood. We're working at building a framework that allows the mentor to empower the youth and to think critically about their own holistic well-being, and then allowing them to work with the mentors to set goals for themselves as they take a more active rather than a passive role in their own process. I could talk about the ongoing casework that Linda and Hokabeth and I have all been involved in, as the Lord has opened doors for us to step into the lives of some of the graduates from the homes who are currently struggling. Some of them economically, some of them with mental or physical health issues, some of them spiritually. While these stories aren't mine to tell, I have to say that it is the honor of my life to walk alongside so many of them and to be able to live before them as a reflection of God's love. I could also spend more time talking about Uber. One of the kids who, for those of you who came to our virtual event last year, you had the opportunity to meet him and hear a little bit about his story. For those of you who don't know, he's our first scholarship recipient as Paths of Hope. And it's been so exciting in this last year to see how God has continued to lead him and challenge him as he moves closer and closer to the end of his course of study. And I could also talk to you about how passionate he is about mentoring children's homes graduate who come behind him. He's actually planning on attending the mentor training that we are getting ready to start this year. I could talk about the numerous opportunities that we as an organization have had to network with other like-minded organizations, both in Peru and throughout Latin America. So many of these opportunities would not have been possible pre-COVID, before virtual meetings became the norm. We simply wouldn't have been able to reach across borders in the same way that we have been in these last couple of years. So yeah, I could talk and talk and talk, but really what I hope you will leave with tonight, beyond just a general knowledge of what we've been up to down here in Peru, is a reminder of God's great faithfulness, even in the midst of the trials that this year has brought us and that life brings us. When I think about faithfulness, it's hard for me to not think about that hymn, "Great is thy faithfulness." And I will confess, I sang that hymn for years before I ever learned where the words to this song are found in the Bible. And I have to admit, I probably wouldn't have guessed that the lyrics come from right in the middle of the book of Lamentations. It's a book that is so full of deep lament and suffering and raw emotion. But what a reminder and what a blessing it is to know that we serve a God who, even in those darkest of circumstances, remains faithful and unchanging. A God who forgives us, who is our source of strength and hope. So one more time, I just want to thank you guys. Thank you for taking the time to be here tonight, or for taking the time to watch the recording. Your presence, your community is a tangible reminder for Kate and me. and the rest of the team at Paths of Hope of the Lord's great faithfulness. I'll pause just really quickly to see if there are any questions. I don't see any. I'll wait just a few seconds if anybody does have any questions or comments. And then I'm going to turn it back over to our board president, Susan Smith. All right, Susan, I think you're up. Thank you guys again.
Well, thank you, Billy. I hope you guys have been able to see just how the Lord has been blessing us and advancing the work in Peru. And on another note, here in the US, the board of Paths of Hope is committed to excellence as we seek to serve and to guide this ministry. And recently we've added a new board member, Brian Marr, and we're so thankful to have Brian's unique skill set in nonprofit branding, fundraising, and board development, which is already helping to advance and grow us in new ways. And as the Lord has blessed us greatly, new opportunities have arisen, and we are being asked to do so much more. And I know that ministries always say to pray for them, but here at Paths of Hope, we really mean it. We know that without the leading and the blessing of the Holy Spirit, we would not have the ears to hear that voice behind us saying, this is the way, walk in it. So first and foremost, when you pray, would you include Paths of Hope and Billy and Kate and the rest of our team in your prayers, please? Second, we can't do it without you. Even the smallest monthly commitment enables us to do more. And your gift really can make a difference in our ministry. And we would love for you to partner with us with a monthly gift. There are a number of ways to do that. You can give online or by mail. You can find out how to do all of those things by going to pohperu.org/donate. And we will include the link in the Facebook comments and in the Zoom chat box as well. We want to thank you so much for your time, for joining us tonight to celebrate with us and what the Lord has been doing. Thank you.